let us discuss about one more kind of like pollutant, or like you can say one more kind of solid waste. We have already discussed about the different kind of solid waste. One of them significant solid waste is called as plastic waste. Plastic, as you are on daily basis, you have been using the different like components or different like of articles which are made up of plastic, right? So why we are saying that the plastic waste? Because as you know, that most of the plastic which is getting added into the environment, since that is not getting disposed of in a proper way and therefore lying in the environment, and in some way it is causing harm to the living things or to the environment as such. That is why we are saying that this is a plastic waste or plastic pollution, right? You may have already seen that different kinds of like applications where you are having like from like you are using to carry food stuff and all that. So in wide variety of over a period of time, what has happened is that the usage of plastic has gone up tremendously, because of like we have identified so many different new applications where we can make use of this particular plastic. But at the same time, when that particular plastic is disposed of and released into the environment, it does not degrade easily, right? So that means it does not break down so easily in the environment, and therefore it is a concern for us now. And one of the reasons why it does not degrade so easily is that it is basically a polymer, and it is made up of a long chain of molecules, and that is why it is having a quite good strength. So as you know, when we talked about the organic materials, in that particular case we said that organic materials get degraded very easily, because when bacterial action takes place, those bacteria can break down those particular that material very easily. But when we release the plastic, if there is any bacterial action, they are not in position to break down the molecules, long chain of these molecules, and that is why this particular waste that remains as it is, and therefore does not degrade. And even if we think of degradation of this particular waste, it may take years and years, hundreds and or more years, which will depend upon the type of waste, right? So it means it is added to the environment and is lying in the environment in huge quantity, and that is why it is a concern for us, and we need to find the ways that what are the different ways by which we can dispose it of, which we have not been able to as of now find a very suitable way, right? And when we talk about that, what is it made up of? Mostly almost all of those plastic that we are right now using, basically it is petroleum based. It is made up of petroleum, or you can say petroleum oils, right? Almost 99% of whatever the plastic that you are using, that is for making it, that is it is coming from, that is a base material for it is a oil. Then indirectly you can just also think of, for making this plastic you are consuming a good quantity of like this oil, petroleum oil also, right? So that is how you have to see this waste. And as I said, that is like one form of the solid waste. Solid waste we have already discussed. There are like different kinds of solid waste. You can also classify this waste as this is one part of that particular solid waste. So if we say plastic waste or pollution, it means accumulation, adding of the plastic objects, particles in the Earth's environment that adversely affect kisko, wildlife को, all those things which are surrounding in their particular environment. Wildlife हो सकता है जिस area में आपकी wildlife रह रही है, we call it as wildlife habitat, and humans, right? So if it is like adversely or harmful to all those things, then we are saying it is a plastic pollution or plastic waste. अब जो why it becomes so popular, the other thing, other point is because it is quite inexpensive, easy है, सस्ता है, and durable. Strength भी अच्छी है और lifespan भी quite good, right? So that is why this is one of the reason why the plastic became very popular. However, the chemical structure of plastic is such that it is resistant to the many natural processes of degradation. As a result, they are slow to degrade. It does not degrade so easily. Okay, before moving on to the next slide, let me just, I have mentioned some of the different forms of plastics over here. At least you should be aware about the different names. For example, PET. अगर मैं बोलता हूँ कि PET plastic, a particular kind of plastic that is called as PET. So you should at least know the complete form. HDPE, what it stands for. LDPE. So some of these you may be knowing, but anyhow, PET, when we say PET, polyethylene terephthalate, right? This is the full form of this. So for example, कहाँ पर very popular application of this particular kind of like this plastic is in plastic bottles, water bottle that you are using. Same way, high density polyethylene, right? Like shampoo bottles hogi aapki, you're having ice cream containers hoge, right? So all those, they are made up of like HDPE. Then you're having low density polyethylene, like you're having bags hoge, polythene bags hoge, and all those trays hoge, containers hoge, food packaging films hoge, all that, they are made up of this. Something that way also, like at least you should know the names, that's all. PP, polypropylene, PS, polystyrene, expanded polystyrene, EPS. So these are the some common form of the plastics that are in general use. At least we must be aware about these different forms of these plastics and name at least, right? And what is it made up of? That I have already discussed with you. That mostly it is made up of petroleum products, and it is a long chain of that is a carbon based polymer hai, basically long chain of molecules that you already know, because we polymer आपको already पता है what is the meaning of polymer. So carbon based polymer आप बोल सकते हो. And almost whatever the plastics that we find, 99% of the plastic that is in use, they are basically क्या है, they come from these fossil fuels, that is oil, natural gas, or coal. All of these are the non renewable resources. तो कोल आप ऐसे कंज्यूम कर रहे हो, oil तो आप ऐसे भी, otherwise also you are consuming it for generation of the like they are the energy resources, right? So at the same time, huge quantity, significant quantity of that particular oil or and all that fossil fuels, you are also diverting them for the making of these plastics, right? So which are non-renewable resources, which cannot be renewed, and therefore once they are consumed, they are exhausted forever, right? And as per one of the estimates, like by 2050, agar same rate pay, if you continue to make use of these plastics, so by 2050, at that particular point of time, whatever the this petroleum that you may be using, out of that 20% will be accounting for that of the total consumption will go for the making of these plastics. So such is a huge consumption, you can just say, of this plastic, rather you can say at that particular point of time, but the way it is growing presently, right? And global level pe agar hum baat karen, as of now, that how is the situation, at how much plastic waste is getting generated, right? So these figures are alarming. For example, if you talk about 1950s to 2018, is period ke beech, estimated 6.3 billion tons. You can just simply imagine 1 billion equal to like 100 crores. Then you can just simply think of, then tons, 1000 kg, 1 ton 1000 kg. You can just think of like 630 crores, right? Tons of plastic has been produced worldwide, of which estimated only 9%. मतलब इस period में, out of this total waste which has been generated in this period, only about 9% has been recycled. Again, दोबारा उसको use किया है हमने for some other purpose. And 12% has been incinerated. Incinerated का मतलब almost 12% हमने क्या किया वो, we have already seen the process of incineration, where what we do is we just burn that particular waste material. So 12%, and we will see the negative impact of incineration also. Rather, there also we have already seen. In case of plastic, it is going to have the same thing, right? So इसका मतलब है ये तो अपने आप में it may have created a harmful impact, right? And rest, where is the rest? Rest is still hovering around the planet, right? That is lying somewhere on the planet, right? That is how the situation is. And with regard to the like this use of plastic can also contribute to the greenhouse gases also. In 2008 report Plastic and Climate, we don't need to remember this report. This is just to give you an idea that also this plastic can also lead to, plastic is also leading to the emission of the greenhouse gases, or indirectly leading to the global warming, right? According to this particular report in this plastic will contribute greenhouse gases in the equivalent of this, think of this, 8 million tons, too huge, carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Roughly, whatever the itni gases you release is about, it is expected that itna amount का carbon dioxide that would have been released. Those कहाँ से आई? During the production, आपने production के दौरान जब आपने उस प्लास्टिक को बनाया, transportation के दौरान, and incineration. Because when incineration took place, obviously carbon dioxide may have, or other pollutants may have got released into the environment. Because of all those processes associated with this plastic, roughly you can just say itna jo amount of carbon dioxide is getting released, and therefore you can also say indirectly it is also contributing to the global warming, because it is इन द प्रोसेस, इस पूरी प्रोसेस में जो है वो क्या हो रहा है, ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज आर गेटिंग रिलीज. नाउ लेट अस सी द व्हाट आर द इफेक्ट्स दैट यू कैन हैव ऑफ द प्लास्टिक पोल्यूशन. प्लास्टिक को यूज करके जो है, या आपने वंस यू हैव जस्ट थ्रोन इट, देन व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट इम्पैक्ट दैट यू कैन सी, राइट. कुछ एक मेजर इम्पैक्ट हम डिस्कस करेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल, first one that I have discussed over here is the burning of the plastic. You may have seen in many areas where you don't have much awareness with regard to the disposal of this particular plastic. Plastic is sometimes burned, right, unintentionally you can say, because you don't have the awareness and all that. So when you can say plastic is burned, basically it releases a lot of, ये जो आपका धुआं है, this all that particular smoke that is coming out, it is full of harmful chemicals or full of harmful substances, and once they go into the environment and nearby area, if you inhale it, you are going to have the health hazard, right. So कुछ एक जो harmful gases हैं that you must know which are related to the burning of this particular plastic, right. For example, there could be like hydrochloride, chloric acid, sulfur dioxide, etc. Dioxin, this is very like harmful substance which is released after burning. So you should at least know this name. ये नाम आपको पता होना चाहिए. Furans. We don't need to know the chemical composition and all that, but we need to know at least that these are the names associated with the burning of this particular plastic waste. Furans and dioxin, and some of heavy metals are also, and they can cause respiratory problems, and also they can potentially carcinogenic. So potentially carcinogenic, as I have already discussed this term with you, that carcinogenic का मतलब हुआ which is cancer causing. So if this burning takes place in mass, then simply it can have the effect like in terms of like health hazard could be. So burning जो है, जो हम आज की डेट में देख रहे हैं, which is carried out, तो it can lead to the health hazard. अच्छा, एक पॉइंट और मैं simply just mention करना चाहता हूँ, the way I have highlighted it. Many of you are like facing a problem in terms of like content also. For example, let us say I have explained you this much and this is a paragraph. I have highlighted 3-4 things. I don't even need to read this whole paragraph what is happening, right. अगर मैं simply क्या करूं, plastic is burned, ये मैंने underline किया है या highlight किया है, साथ में as you know प्लास्टिक से रिलेटेड ऐसा तो है नहीं कि बहुत स्पेसिफिक गैसेस जो रिलीज होंगी. देयर विल बी सो मेनी पॉल्यूटेंट्स दैट विल रिलीज, बट जो स्पेसिफिक कुछ है, क्या है, डायोक्सिन, फुरान है, इसको मैंने हाईलाइट कर दिया. सेम वे व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम दैट कैन टेक प्लेस, मैंने हाईलाइट कर दिया, रेस्पिरेटरी एलिमेंट्स, एंड एट द एंड जो पोटेंशियली हो सकता है कार्सिनोजेनिक. सो इन होल प्रोसेस अगर मैंने एक बार इसको स्टडी कर लिया, आई डोंट नीड टू while revising, I don't even need to read this whole paragraph. Simply क्या देखना है मैंने, अगर मैंने इसको हाईलाइट किया है, if I simply highlighted it, I have simply to look through it. The whole of that paragraph will get refreshed in your mind. That obviously burning होगी तो क्या होगा, डायोक्सिन जो कि फुरान्स हैं वो बहुत harmful होंगे, and potential harmful क्या हो सकता है. That is how. So all those whatever we have been, rather कोई भी आपका chapter, typically those subjects which are not like technical subject, technical orientation नहीं है जिनमें, particular like environment and all that, wherever you are having a paragraph, make a practice of highlighting. उसको highlight करने, अगर physical है तो physical highlighting करो उसकी, right, marker लेके. And if it is a PDF में भी you are having a very option, आपको highlight की option आती है. If you have just explore that option, जो PDF है, PDF even you can go through very PDF से ही अगर आप revise कर रहे हो, just highlight those points. Like I have, like let us say in the PDF you can highlight it very easily, right, and save that particular PDF. So when the next time you will come, then this process will get easier. So try to follow that process. It will become easy for you to revise that particular subject or particular topic, right. Now, और क्या इफेक्ट हो सकता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल whatever the waste, most of the waste that you have discarded, plastic waste that you have discarded, basically it is discarded in open. There is no proper collection method. आपका घर से जो प्लास्टिक वेस्ट है निकल रहा है, आप कहीं भी थ्रो कर रहे हो इसको, या प्रॉपर कलेक्शन नहीं हो रही है, प्रॉपर डिस्पोजल मेथड नहीं है, so you can just find it everywhere around you, this plastic waste. Now you can just simply think of one is that, let us say you have thrown all this around. Let us say you are having a agriculture field all around. आसपास अगर एग्रीकल्चर फील्ड है और आपने इसको जो है फेंका हुआ है, तो ऑब्वियसली क्या होगा, that may this plastic waste may get carried out to that particular those fields में, it may be carried away, and once it gets mixed up with that particular soil, or let's say agriculture field है, तो ऑब्वियसली जो सॉइल की माइक्रोबियल एक्टिविटी है, वहां जो माइक्रोब्स हैं, द वे दे फंक्शन, उसको क्या करेगा, हैम्पर होगा, क्योंकि जो माइक्रोब्स हैं दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू डिकम्पोज इट, एंड देयरफॉर दे विल बी लाइक उनकी जो नॉर्मल एक्टिविटी है दैट विल गेट डिस्टर्ब. तो वन इज दैट इट मे गेट लाइक आपकी जो सॉइल की माइक्रोबियल एक्टिविटी है उसको भी क्या करेगा, डैमेज करेगा. सेकंड, लेट अस से इफ इट रेन्स देन ऑब्वियसली इट विल बी कैरीड अवे. तो आपका जो जितने भी ड्रेन्स होंगे, राइट, विच कैरी द वाटर, जो आपका आपके शहर से आपके एरिया से पानी को जो है बाहर निकालते हैं, अगर हैवी रेनफॉल होता है, दे आर गोइंग टू क्लॉग इट, राइट. सो ये क्या करेंगे, जाके फंस जाएंगे वहां पर, एंड देयरफॉर इट इज गोइंग टू लीड टू, और जो ब्लॉकेज काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन कैन एग्जिस्ट, राइट. एट द सेम टाइम फॉर एग्जांपल लेट अस से, ये तो यहां पर आपने थ्रो किया, लेट अस से you are having animals and all those, right, you are having birds, animals. No, animals may get आपने देखा होगा most of the food stuff हमने क्या उसको पैक किया, फेंक दिया. When in the process, when animals look for the food, obviously in the process they also eat up that particular this plastic, and therefore it is going to be harmful to them also, all the living things which are going to take up that particular plastic, right. So these are some of the effects that you can just, common effects which you have observed. So real impact of the plastic bag litter matlab whatever the waste that you are having is felt on the wildlife, both in marine environment. Marine matlab jo aapka you are having this water bodies, and terrestrial matlab land surface ke upar, right. So this impact you are going to matlab that means you are having like terrestrial animals also, aquatic animals also you are going to have. Grazing and scavenging animals, all those cows, seagull, dogs, all those, they will eat the plastic unintentionally, and which has been contaminated with the human food. Like they will eat it because they will they will not be able to distinguish properly, and therefore you can just say they will eat it up. So one is that not only like terrestrial animals which are exposed to the impact of this plastic, but also you are having the sea like animals or living things also, right? So they are going to also have the same impact, because once they will see the plastic or maybe like consume, they mistakenly they are going to consume it, right? Once they consume it, then it will be the, go into their particular like this stomach, and there it cannot be digested. So obviously it will gather over there, then obviously it is going to starve you to the death, or maybe it can create another complications in your body or in those bodies of those animals, right? Tens of thousands of the whales, birds, seas and turtles are killed every year. ये तो data है that you are having as of now, that thousands of these living things are being killed because of these plastic bags in the environment, and they often mistake plastic bags to food stuff such as jellyfish. For example, जैसे यहाँ पर अगर fish है, it will look like jellyfish, and therefore many of the fish which are dependent upon the jellyfish, they may by mistake may eat it up, and therefore going to have the consequences which I mentioned over here. One more problem is that rubbish which is lying over there, or if it goes to that particular marine environment, entanglement in plastic debris has been, entanglement matlab this is getting trapped, right? So these animals may get trapped in the plastic stuff, different kinds of plastic stuffs which you have just added, like you have a rope of plastic and something that stuff, and therefore once they got entangled, so they will become easy prey of other animals. मान लिया fish है, छोटी fish है, वो फंस गई, तो larger fish क्या है, उसके लिए easy जो है बड़ा बनाया खाना मिल गया, that way. And also if they got entangled, they will not be able to search for their own food, and therefore they are going to starve, something that way. Organisms such as fish, seal, turtles and birds, these animals get caught in the debris and end up suffocated or drowning, right? So this is another impact you can. So they are going to have like burning will take place. तो आपको पता है environmental जो है pollution जो generate हो रहा है, human health may be impacted. Then when it goes to the like you are having open में जाएगा ये, then you are having animals, terrestrial as well as you're going to have the this what do we call as a aquatic animals, they are also going to be impacted because of this, right? At the same time, sometimes we are having a like practice of carrying the food stuff in the these plastic bags, and many of us, not many of us, all of us are not aware that which bag is to be used for what purpose. We don't know किस purpose के लिए वो bag बना है, and let us say it is carry, that particular plastic bag has been made, let us say, for carrying the normal articles, right? But what you are doing is you are just filling all the food stuff for your eating purpose. Then obviously, because we will see in the next few slides that it is made up of many harmful chemicals. जो plastics bags हैं आपके बने हैं, petroleum उसका base रहेगा, but at the same time many of the other elements, harmful chemicals have been used for making up of these plastics. and when you are using the food stuff जो आप उसमें carry कर रहे हो, which you are not aware for what purpose that particular carry bag is, so in that case it can contaminate your food also, and which can indirectly affect your health, right? So that is how you have to see the effects of, so these widespread effects of plastics, and in large scale deposition of this plastic, because it is not getting degraded, has led to a serious environmental hazard as of now. Now let's see, इसमें कुछ एक और अगर हम देखें हेल्थ इफेक्ट्स में ही ह्यूमन बींग्स में, जस्ट वी नीड टू हैव अ लिटिल आइडिया ऑन दिस. फॉर एग्जांपल, plastic contains chemicals and hazardous substances such as bisphenol A, BPA, phthalates, antimonitroxide, brominated flame retardants, and polyfluorinated chemicals, etc., which are serious risk factor for human health and environment. Now just see, ये तो नाम जो है कुछ एक आपको आइडिया होना चाहिए. BPA वेरी पॉपुलर, जैसे जो बच्चों की वाटर बॉटल, सॉरी जो मिल्क बॉटल्स होती थी प्लास्टिक की अर्लियर, BPA was a part of those bottles, but over a period of time, because we found that health impact of these, for example, you say over here, have a look over here, BPA, let's say जो plastic bottle है वो, that is in that you are having BPA, what it could have impact. Hormone disruptor linked to breast cancer, early puberty and infertility, ये आप you can just think of. So these are the effect. अगर बेबी जो है वो अर्ली लाइफ में एक्सपोज हैं, then you just think of the health impact. So बहुत सारी अगर आप आर्टिकल देखोगे बेबीज के जो प्लास्टिक बॉटल्स एंड ऑल दैट, या कुछ एक दूसरी प्लास्टिक बॉटल्स भी आती हैं, समटाइम्स वेरी एक्सक्लूसिवली इज मेंशन, जस्ट ट्राई टू हैव अ लुक ओवर देयर, फ्री फ्रॉम BPA, right? So that means this is one of those, okay, sometimes what we have started, we are making use of it. If there is no hue and cry, बहुत बड़ा कोई शोर नहीं मचा रहा है कि ये हार्मफुल है, you don't have कोई प्रॉपर स्टडी नहीं है, तब तक वो बात चल रही है. बट वंस you come to know and there is environmental concern और कुछ concern पता चल जाता है, and that case when you make a hue and cry, then people या manufacturer भी क्या करते हैं, उसको धीरे phase out करना शुरू करते हैं. But till the time you don't have conclusive report or conclusive evidence that this can cause this kind of like harmful impact, till then everything is going on, and that is how the things are. You can just have this particular phthalates is another kind of like जो केमिकल है जो आप यूज करते हो इसको बनाने में. इट इज ऑल्सो दैट इज लिंक्ड टू द हार्मोन डिसरप्शन. सो दोनों में कॉमन ही है ये. दिस ऑल्सो लीड टू हार्मोन डिसरप्शन एंड रिप्रोडक्टिव हार्म इन बेबी बॉय, राइट? सो सेम वे इट इज ऑल्सो PVC जो हम यूज करते हैं in the plastic, number 3, that is 1 2 3 something, there is a categorization over there. So plastic linked to the cancer also. You can just think of those harmful substances which are used to make up those particular kind of this. So that is the largest concern. Now point is that you can just raise a question that okay, if all those chemicals are added, then why we are like filling up water bottle and all those. See, they will not come out so easily and they will not become part of that. But okay, when we have disposed it off, like, or and when that is getting released into the environment through different environmental processes, it may become part of water and all that. But okay, after testing and all that, okay, once you have made that these chemicals will not become part of that particular, let us say, water bottle or water जो bottle में है, then in that case you can make use of. तो वो आपके पहले ही आपकी जो है मैन्युफैक्चरर की तरफ से जो है वो डिटेल्स दी जाती हैं कि this is suitable for this and all that. But still, because there is a huge variety of like articles which we are sometimes unintentionally using for different applications, the concern always remain that those substances which you have used which are harmful can cause a serious concern somewhere down the line. This is a like life cycle of the plastic, कि plastic कहाँ से बनना शुरू हुआ and finally end up where it ends up. उस process के दौरान there are different areas where you can get exposed to the different contaminants or toxic elements which are used to make up these particular plastics. For example, जहाँ से शुरुआत अगर हम करें, extraction and transportation. शुरू में आपने जहाँ से प्लास्टिक बनाना शुरू किया, raw material लिया, तो वहीं पे ही आपका एक्सपोजर हो जाएगा. Maybe it may be in the form of fine particles and all those. And if those fine particles goes into the environment, obviously, if they got inhaled, then obviously it is going to impact you, right? Same way refining and manufacturing के दौरान शुरू में ही आपने इसको जैसे small particles में crush किया, and then finally when you start making it, then obviously they can become part of the environment in different ways, and therefore have a health impact on you, either inhaled or it may be through other processes. Once you have consumed them, like you have used them, and then finally it goes to waste, then waste को भी आपने properly manage किया, जैसे हमने कहा कि incineration हुई, so वहां से toxic elements आए, again they are going to cause the health hazard. For example, tire है, अब tire as such तो आपका, let us say you have used, let us say, plastic in the tire, so over a period of time this tire will get wear down, it will get worn away, right? धीरे धीरे जो है वो wear and tear होगी टायर की, और जो this is how, see, you have to relate it to many things. For example, let's say टायर यूज किया, wear and tear हुई उसकी, so wear and tear हुई, वो गया कहां? प्लास्टिक. Let's say if you have used the plastic over there, wear and tear के दौरान जो fine particles they have become the part of the environment. सड़क पे ये, let us say you are having a road, उसी का पार्ट बन गए. Wind आई, wind ने उसको जो उठाया and it has carried to somewhere nearby location, या तो if it gets lifted up, it becomes part of the environment, and maybe the air that you are inhaling is going to cause a trouble to you. Or if it is washed away, then it may pollute your underground water, or maybe nearby water body, and indirectly through that water it may become part of your body. जब ingest करोगे आपके body में जाएगा, तो obviously it is going to cause a trouble for you. So that is how you can just say, same way the other things also you can have the same process also. So in different forms, right? Or during the life cycle का मतलब कहां से शुरुआत हुई and finally कहां end up हुआ आपका जो plastic waste है, that can have a impact on your health or on the environment in each stage. Right. So next slide में simply इसी से corresponding to this health impact has been shown, but we don't need to discuss that in detail. For example, ये वाला जो portion है that correspond to this, extraction and transportation will cause inhalation and ingestion. जो आपका जो, let us say if it goes to your extraction जहां से कर रही है, if it gets leached to the water body, then obviously when you will take the water in, obviously it can cause a trouble for you, or maybe if it becomes part of like air and then again. So हर एक में अगर आप देखोगे direct contact skin effect हो सकता है, inhalation हो सकती है, that means आप जो inhale कर रहे हो उसको सांस के through, या maybe ingest through water also, and all those. So all they are having like health impact. That is, I have just given this slide in your like written form also. You don't need to remember. It is not required as such कि आपको जो है exact पता होना चाहिए कि इस stage पे क्या impact पड़ेगा. Just to have a look, okay, it can have like different kind of like an impact on your health in different forms. That is all that you need to know, right? So here, what you need to know is that when we talk in terms of like different kinds of like harmful substances, कुछ एक substances जो मैंने यहाँ पर mention किए, BPA and all that, you should at least know them, that these are some of the harmful substances that are used in making of the plastics, right? Okay.